All right. I'm supposed to give this on digital assistance. However, and you see in red, once committed to an environment, there's a learning curve. And so, although I'll mention a little bit about some of the other ones, I think Amazon Alexa is probably the best, mostly because they were the first one to really come out with the speaker device. And also because they put a lot of money into doing. The next one on the list is probably Google Assistant, which I know some people have and they love it. And I've also put icons on this, and I'll paste at the end the link to this discussion so that if you want to go back. But if you notice the Echo versus Assistant, if you click on that, it'll bring up actually someone who I found that actually like the voice assistant better than the other one. So we'll go back. So there's the Amazon Alexa, then there's the Google Home Assistant. Siri is an Apple HomeKit, which I understand really is not doing that well. It's good if you want to do it in your car and you want to ask for directions, and if you're on an Apple device to ask questions. But it doesn't, and it can do stuff like turn on the lights and stuff like that, but it's not really as available as Amazon Echo. Then there's Microsoft Cortana, which I've tried to use, but never really got anywhere. It seems like every time I ask it to do something, it wants to give me a link to something else instead of doing what I'm trying to do. There's something called the Samsung S Voice or Bixby, which really never made it. And Facebook came out with the Portal, which they thought might be a huge success, which is kind of more like being able to do a FaceTime or a Zoom with specific people. One of the things is that Alexa now will send information to Cortana to process your requests, okay? Now, it's easy to set up, and I'm going to show you a quick film on that. And then I'll go through the steps here. This film does a pretty good job of course, we'll have to watch a 5-second advertisement. Because I don't pay for the Google. Let's get bad. Come on.
Hi, I'm Jim from Tech Hive, and today I'm going to show you how to set up an Amazon Echo. So here we have the Amazon Echo Dot with a clock, but the process is pretty much exactly the same for any Echo that doesn't have a screen. So it's going to be slightly different, a bit easier in fact if you have an Echo Show, but let's go through the process right now. So I've got my power cable here and I'm going to plug it in to set up. So the other thing you'll need to do next is go the process right now. So I've got my power cable here and I'm going to plug it into the back of the Echo. Now what will happen is that will turn on and it will show an orange ring which shows that it needs to be set up. So the other thing you'll need to do next is go to your phone and install the Amazon Alexa app.
Your device is ready for setup. Just download the Alexa app and follow the instructions.
I've already got that. So I'm going to launch that. And in your app, once you've signed in with your Amazon account, of course, you'll tap on the menu, tap Add Device, which is the top option, and then tap Amazon Echo. You choose the right Echo from the app. It's an Echo Dot, so we're going to choose that one, and then you choose your correct version. This one's a 3rd gen. Now, it asks you if your Echo is displaying an orange light, which it is. So it will then search and find the device, and you just tap on it. Then it's a simple process of choosing your Wi-Fi network and typing in the password. If you've already typed in the password when you've set up an Echo before, then you'll find that Amazon may have already saved your password, so you don't even need to type it in, and that's what's happening in this case. So now we can see that the Echo Dot is connected to Wi-Fi, so we tap Continue. Because this is the Echo Dot with clock, it's just giving us a little bit of information about what the clock does. And now you choose which room your Dot is in, your Echo, so that you can put it into various groups, and the Alexa app knows basically where it is in your house. So if we choose that it's in a bedroom, that's where we put an Echo Dot with clock, and then tap continue.
Your Echo is ready.
And really, that's the whole process done. You may have heard Alexa saying that she was ready there, but when you hear that message, that means that she's connected to your broadband and connected to the internet, and everything's ready to go. So that's the setup.
Okay, so number one, you need the app, which is available on PC or tablet. And the Echo Show actually has, as he said, it's easier because it sets itself up by showing you the next steps on the screen. So it's going to ask you for your network and your Amazon account. It's going to ask you for your location, although I believe it finds it by itself, and that's more for weather, traffic, and purchases. And then you can add it to a group, which you may have a library, garage, and you may have other things like turning lights on and off in that same group. So if you want to do anything with them, because you can control all this from the Alexa app also instead of your voice, you can just go to the group, which makes it easy if you have several of these things around. Now, one of the things I found out when I was researching this is I have a cabin in Massachusetts, and it actually spans multiple locations, which is a great feature because I can turn on the screen in the cabin and see what's going on there, or I can play music, turn lights on and off from my home here. Now, the software is updated automatically, so it's never like with Microsoft where you're trying to do something and all of a sudden it decides to start updating something. You get a choice of different sounds, alarms, notifications, and what light you want on it. You get 4 different names, which I said I had to change because I didn't want Alexa going on and off while I was talking, and those are Alexa, computer, Amazon, or Echo. And the good thing about it is, even if you can't get it going, I have used the Alexa called Amazon Customer Service, which I am very pleased with. And they have a special Alexa help group, which has walked me through some what I thought was difficult problems, and they've always got me going again. So it's a good way to a good product to surface. Now, there we go. Okay, now the Alexa app, which there's a couple pictures on the bottom, but it performs on Amazon Echo, Fire OS, iOS, Android, Cortana, Xbox, and Linux. So it goes pretty much all the systems that are out there. It works across all networks, meaning your network in your home, or you can also access the app and do things from your cell phone if you're not home. So if you forget to turn the heat down when you're going on vacation, if you have a thermostat, you can actually turn the heat down from the road, or turn on lights on and off. It provides access to all the Alexa functions. Anything that you can do with the voice Alexa, you can do on the app, and can be used anywhere to control devices. You can also call, message, you have intercom, share a picture, and a video call. Now, that little blurb on the bottom just says that they actually put what's called an AZ1 neutral edge processor, which is built to run machine learning algorithms on the edge, and it works with natural speech recognition. So they've really updated the newer models. Now, if going from the top left, that's the Echo Show. The one in the middle is the Echo Auto, which you can actually plug into your auto. It uses your phone, however, so that you have to have a phone that it can connect to, and you can do Alexa commands or ask it, who's the last president of the United States, etc. Underneath that is the Echo Fire, which is Fire TV, basically. And then you get several kinds of dots, which is the types, and the one on the bottom right is the newest Echo Show, and this one will actually, the screen is on a rotating stand that follows you around the room, and supposedly has excellent sound quality, but I think it's around $250. The one in the middle on the bottom is called the Echo Flex, and that I got one plugged into my garage, and I can answer the phone in my garage if it rings. I can listen to music. You can connect it to a speaker. It doesn't really have great sound, but it's good enough if I'm just in there for a little bit and just want to listen to something. And they've even got an Echo for the kids room. Now, if you hit the type thing in the corner, right hand corner, you can see all the different models that they have, and these are the various prices that are up. So that's basically it. Now, there's also a great subwoofer, which I understand is pretty good. And usually if you wait till around the holidays, the prices drop 10 or 20 bucks a piece, and you can get a pretty good deal on them. Now, here's some of the devices that can be attached to. I have it attached to my thermostat, which I think is great because I can just say, Alexa, turn the temperature up, down, or what is the temperature in the house, and not have to get up, which I don't like to do. The one right next to that is it connects to a host of different cameras. So almost all the cameras that are out there that are coming out connect to it. I've got the next one is a light, which is kind of a fancy light, but it does light bulbs. You can change colors and just do anything you want. And there's just a multitude of different lights that you can get now, string lights, all kinds. You can tell it how to sweep your house. That's the sweeper version there. And anything that has a plug, as you'll notice in the upper right, it controls anything. So if you've got a radio that you want to turn on, if you've got lights that you want to turn on that aren't Alexa, you can use this. And it also has like timing. And one of the neat things is vacation mode. So like up at the cabin, you set it for vacation mode, and it will flip the light on and off to make do like you're there. Underneath that, you see the iPhone, which you can get Alexa app, so you can control it from your wristwatch if you want, just anywhere. The Ring doorbell, but there are a lot of different cameras that and doorbells that have Alexa. Almost everything that's coming out nowadays has Alexa something or other. You can control your microwave. I have no idea, since I don't know how to cook, how you would use it with that. The next is, if you want to you can have a lock that has Alexa. So if you're driving up and you got your wristwatch out or your phone out, you can unlock the door. Or if you're at work and you need somebody to get in, and you can unlock it from work. Now, they just came out with the one in the lower left, which is called Echo Frames, and they've actually put the Echo device in the frame of the glasses. And so you can control stuff just by having this, or you can get information, like you can ask it different questions, etc. Okay, the speakers. The speakers are Wi-Fi. They can do Bluetooth. You can do so if you got a Bluetooth device, the speakers will accept the signal from a Bluetooth device. They also have a speaker jack on, I think, all of them. And that way, if you have a wire and you want to hook it up to your stereo, you can put an Alexa device on that and plug it into your stereo. Now, this is a neat feature that I think. It's multi-house speaker. Like, I have Spotify, so I can listen to any kind of music I want. And what I do is I give a group of up to five speakers in the house. So if I'm busy cleaning or walking up and down the stairs and going to the laundry or something, I can listen to the music through the whole house. Now, the one thing that I don't know why they don't do is doesn't work with like the newscasts and podcasts and some of the other stuff I'll be talking about. It supports different music devices: Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, and SIRI. Now, the one that I think is pretty neat, especially for our group, is the Alexa Care Hub. And what that is it has special stuff set up so that, let's say your father or your mother or somebody who's maybe ill or something, if you give them a Alexa show and you have an Alexa show, it'll do things for you. And I'm going to run a little film on that because I think it's important. It's only a few minutes long. Maybe I will. Let's see. There we go.
Alexa, start my day.
Good morning. Today in Santa Monica, look for a high of 72 degrees. This is a reminder. Take your pills.
Alexa, thank you.
Alexa, drop in on Mom.
Hey, baby.
Are those reminders working out for you?
That's between me and Alexa.
I see how it is. Talk to you later, Mom.
Bye, baby. Love you. Hey.
Hey, what are you up to tonight, Mom?
I decided to stay home and finish my painting.
Well, I'm just calling to check on you, Mom. Love you.
Good night, son.
So what I'm getting at is basically the best feature, I think, from that is if there's no activity for, I think, a set amount of time, it will let you know so that you can take some action and find out if the person is all right. Now, here's some of the things that you can go through, and I've put the abilities and commands, which I'm not going to go through today, but if you want to go back and do it, you can click on it because there's a lot of things that you can ask it and a lot of things that it can do. I'm just going to go through some of the highlights. It uses Microsoft Bing for searches. However, I believe you can change that. I think I changed mine to Google. You can recognize voices so that my girlfriend and I can ask it different questions and it knows to go to that account, Amazon account, rather than one account. You can do spelling. How many times have you been writing something and you go, how do I spell that? It will spell that word for you. It can do any kind of calculations, and I'm not just talking about adding and subtracting. It can do all kinds of logarithms and things like that. And if you get a zip code that you're not familiar with, it can find that for you. And if you get a phone call and you want to know who's giving you that call, it can do the area codes and tell you that. Of course, it does local weather and time. It uses Wikipedia for a lot of things. And like one of the calls that we were on, somebody asked, how thin can you pound gold? And it actually knew that. So that surprised me. But it also uses other databases if it doesn't find that one. Now, the one my girlfriend likes the best is person of interest, meaning that we'll be watching a movie or something and she'll go, how old is he? What is he worth? And tell me a little bit about his biography. You can set appointments with it. If you're going somewhere, you can research traffic conditions. And if you're tired and you just want to relax, it can read a book to you. Now, this one I just found out this morning, which I thought was surprising. It can translate. So if someone comes over your house and they speak Spanish or Hindu or one of the 7 major languages, it can actually do translations for you. There's a verbal calculator. You can also do the number of days. So if you want to know how many days it is to your birthday, it does that, and miles between 2 places. It has both a timer, which counts up, and a countdown timer, which counts down. And if you have a screen, it will actually show you the countdown timer and an alarm. I use this because my laundry is in the basement a lot, and I usually can't hear the ding. So this will tell me that the laundry is, or a certain amount of time will tell me what's going on. It does verbal reminders with a notification to your phone. So if you see a TV program that's coming on next month, you can set a verbal reminder. and it will for a couple days ahead of time so that you can record it, and it will both tell you and it will send a notification to your phone. You can create personalized daily news programs. For example, I do both BBC, NPR, Word of the Day, History for the Day, and I forget what else I've got in there, but you can pick several different topics that it will go through. So when you wake up, you just say, Alexa, news brief, and it will run through those topics for you, catching you up. It does, you can order Amazon products, of course, and you can check on the process to see if it's been shipped or delivered. It does movie reviews and ratings. You can check for different types of business and services and their hours. So if you want to know if the library, the post office, or what time Target opens and closes, it knows all this and it will tell you. It does the miles between cities or how far it is to a retailer. Of course, it does all kinds of games that I'm not going to go into right now. Tell you the sunset and sunrise times, and it does sports. So if you want to know yesterday's game sports or what's going on and that kind of thing. The home automation, it does lights by voice command, schedule. You can schedule this any way you want to go on and off. You can set dim. If you have a certain kind of bulb, you can set colors. And again, I talked about the vacation mode, which I think is pretty cool. The thermostat, you can check. I can sit in my thing and see what the temperature is. I can set it, I can change it, and I can set it so that it's the same Monday through Friday, that kind of thing. There's something called Alexa Guard, which actually has a home security. It will, if you set Alexa Guard and you're away and it finds motion in the house, it will send a notification to you. You can communicate directly with your contacts by intercom, texting, and phone dialing. However, if you want to receive a phone call on Alexa, you have to buy something called Connect, which actually goes into your phone line before the phone, and then you can just tell Alexa to answer the phone. The one that my girlfriend always uses is Find Your Phone. You just tell it to call that number and it will ring that doorbell for you. And again, you got the Ring doorbell, which can let you know if a package arrives or who's at the front door. And you can open a lock, or if you want to have a package delivered to your garage, if you have a garage door opener that has Alexa in it, you can tell it to open the garage door. Now, I've got the plug here again because, like I said, anything that has a plug on it, you can actually turn on and off. So if you've got a coffee maker and you want coffee in the morning, you can set it up and just either run it up by a schedule, or when you wake up, tell Alexa to start the coffee. Now, Fire TV, it's Alexa driven, and there's several different ones. The little cube on the top actually listens to you. If you have the other two on the bottom, Fire Stick, that's called a Fire Cube, and the Fire Stick on the bottom, two things, you have to push the speaker little microphone button to get it to do things, but it works the same way. So you can watch your favorite programs from Netflix, YouTube, Prime Video, Disney, Apple TV, HBO, etc., etc. You can also stream for free Pluto TV, IMDb TV, and more. However, you will get commercials with those. You can launch and control contact with your voice. You can enjoy brilliant pictures with access with 4K, etc., etc. You can choose from 500,000 movies or TV episodes, and you can experience tens of thousands of channels, apps, and Alexa skills. Alexa on Fire TV provides a comprehensive voice experience to check weather, view live camera feeds, and more, which means if you have a camera that is Alexa compatible, you can ask it to show you the backyard or the living room or whatever, And again, remember, I can do this from my cabin if I'm worried and I have a Alexa type device, I can actually view it from another location. Now, it also has a ton of skills. And I talked about the flash briefing, which I'll go connect. It connects to Amazon Photos. So if you put your photos in the Amazon Photo service, for example, my daughter has a 1.5-year-old, and she usually puts 4 or 5 pictures up a week, and it's my background for my shows. So I get to look at my grandson all through the day on a couple of my different shows. It has wiki instructions, which there's 180,000 different instructions to show you how to do things. So you can ask it how to, I don't know, mow the lawn or paint a wall and that kind of thing, and it'll show you instructions. It does translations into several of the languages, and there's games. There's a lot of games and quizzes and inspiration. And I just picked a couple of them: organizing assistants. You can do night lights and alarm clocks, counter girl, and earth cams. Almost anything you can think of. And these skills are also connected with a lot of the different devices that you have to set up. For example, I have a Weiss camera, and I have to enable the skill for the Weiss camera to work with Alexa, which is fairly easy. Okay, you have the drop-in feature, which means that you can either drop into another Alexa in the house, or if someone okays it, you can actually, like I can drop in on my daughter, which she won't let me do, or I can drop in on the cabin, and so anybody who has a show or even a dot can do this drop-in feature. You can change the search engine, which I mentioned earlier. You connect to Amazon Pictures, which I mentioned. You can put in a URL, and either with Firefox or a Silk browser. And if you're one who doesn't worried about, taking pictures of you when you don't want it to, there's a slide on the show that will cover the camera with a little plastic piece. You can access Facebook. You can see security cameras, so if you have those around. And what's neat about it is if you have the show, instead of having to say the command, you can actually, as you'll see in the picture, you can slide it, and it gives you several options to change settings or to use YouTube or Facebook or several of the different things. The one that Paul told me he likes is that he likes to listen to NPR, but he never got a good connection on his radio. And that's one good thing about Alexa. It's always an excellent connection. So you can listen to NPR, BBC, radio stations that you like. You can say play, 101.1 or whatever. They have a ton of podcasts that you can connect to. And with the screen, you can see the news, you can see a YouTube, movies and recipes. And the one I also learned is you can take a picture. You can tell it to take a picture, and you can send it or save it if you have the Echo Show. So I said it can watch movies. The ones that are available right now are Amazon, Hulu, YouTube, and Netflix. And you can do different commands like show me a title, search for a TV show, show me movies with this actor, open a video provider, show me you can also have a Prime Video library, and again, different things with that. Now, if you're a cook, which I am not, but my girlfriend uses this a lot, it uses, you can choose several different all recipes, Betty Crocker, Food Next, and there's a lot more. There's a save button on the screen, so you can save recipes, and it'll show you recipes that you saved. It does a video step-by-step with ingredients, or it also usually gives you the written step-by-step if you don't want to watch the thing. You can set multiple countdown timers, which when you're cooking is pretty important, so that the rice and the potatoes are going to be different times. If you want to know how many calories are in what it does, what you're cooking, it'll tell you the calories. And it also converts units, meaning that if, I don't know, if you got a cup of flour and you need a teaspoon of flour, it does that kind of thing. You can start a transfer. You can do a grocery list and transfer it to the phone, and some of the recipes, actually, you can transfer it automatically. If you see some type of food that you're making, you can just tell it to transfer that recipe, though the ingredients, to your phone and have it there. And you can get cooking times, and you can, of course, control these smart devices. I'm just going to show you a quick YouTube of this, maybe.
Optimum's best internet offer just got better. Get 300 meg internet now for only $35 a month, and we'll boost our offer.
I'm Tom from Do It Yourself Home Automation, and this is a look at getting recipes on the Amazon Echo Show. And I really like the show for recipes because it has this whole visual element to it. So I can say, Alexa, show me a recipe for tacos.
Okay, for tacos, here's a few recipes.
And it's going to give me a variety of different options. And then I can scroll through these, find one that looks good to me. So maybe I want to make some, let's just see, what about, I don't want this taco skillet. Maybe make some fish tacos. So I can click on the recipe I want to do, and I get these nice pictures that shows me exactly how to do it. It gives me the rating for the recipe, the amount of time that it'll take, the number of servings that I'm getting. It shows me all of the ingredients down here, and I can scroll down and see those. And then I can also, if I wanted to, add this to a shopping list. So I can add that to my Amazon shopping list and then pull it up in the app on my phone, so I can go to the store and actually buy the stuff to make this recipe. I can start up this little video here. I should be able to get that playing. And it'll probably be walking me through the process of making that particular dish. So I'm not going to watch through that whole thing right now, but I'll go back here. And that's the basic process. If I don't want to follow the video, I can also have this up in my kitchen, and I can scroll down and I get the directions written out in text. So I could scroll through this and follow them as I'm cooking. So that's an example of how to find recipes and then follow recipes on your Amazon.
So that was an example of one of the things that he did. One of the things I forgot to put in this demonstration when I was watching him is you can create lists. So if you're a list type of person, you can actually create a list in Alexa app, and then you can add to it anytime you want. So it's another thing that I didn't mention. Anyhow, so video multiple. I went through this already. Okay, next. Now, those of you that are interested in security, I'll just go through this briefly. It has every Alexa privacy settings and how to change them. And if you're really concerned, I have it both for the Google Assistant and the privacy settings, which you can tap on and go through it more. But you can do stuff like Alexa, delete what I just said, 10 minutes, delete everything I've ever said, delete all recordings and select time frame, choose how long your voice recording is saved, stop recording used for development. They have a mute button on every device. So if you're really worried about what it's listening to, you can just hit the mute devices, and you can revoke different skills. Those skills that I told you, like, I don't know, turn on a light or something, you can revoke that. You can delete Alexa's smart home device history. So there's several different ways that you can control the device if you're worried about security. But one thought on that is, if you really think about it, I mean, except for the fact that I believe that they could listen to a conversation, and if you mention buy in TV, they might scan for that. But the amount of information that they're getting, it would really be some chore to really get something other than maybe buying habits from that. And believe it or not, when you log on to a lot of sites, a lot of them are connected to Amazon anyway, that have nothing to do with Amazon. And let's see. Last but not least, the only thing I want to remind you, if you ever want to get rid of one of these devices, you have to go through a process to deregister it. And I think that's it. So I will put the link to my talk, and I believe that Paul will also make a video of this as a possibility, so that you can watch it on YouTube. So I guess we'll go from here to questions.
People are welcome to raise their hand. Okay, Bill Tittle. You can unmute yourself too.
Bingo. Okay, thanks a lot, John. My basic question, there's a lot here that I'm behind the curve on, but I presume to turn on a light, I'd have to buy a external plug, a smart plug or something like that that can speak to Alexa.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Well,
And
there's several choices, Bill. If you want to turn on a light, there are bulbs that have Alexa in them, so you can screw in a bulb, and that will give you different colors.
okay.
You can get a plug, or there's also lights that just have Alexa, like that ceiling light that I showed. It comes with Alexa in it, so that if you're in your basement, you want one of those, you just go. And I have them all over my house. I also have a lot of automatic ones that when I'm going down the stairs, the light just turns on by itself without Alexa. But there are several choices. The plug is the key. So anything that has a plug in it, you can turn on and off. I do that with my old air conditioner, but it doesn't work with the new air conditioners because they actually have to stay on all the time. So if you've got an old air conditioner, it'll turn that on for you.
Okay, just one other question, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of guys asking. My stereo is like 30 years old. It's not a smart stereo. It's not Bluetooth or anything like that. Do I have to upgrade my stereo to use?
Well, if it has a headphone jack, you can buy a dot and plug the headphone jack into the thing, and then make sure that your input is to that the headphone or input mic. I'm saying headphone. I mean microphone. You plug it into the microphone, and then Alexa will play through that device, any device that has that kind of plug.
Terrific.
Say, Bill, John, when you're talking about those actuators that you would need for lights and things around the house, are they actually Amazon specific, or are they simply Wi-Fi specific, and you could use them for all kinds of other devices as well?
I just bought, let's see if I can do this. I'll get out of the way.
And do they use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth? Probably Wi-Fi, right?
Wi-Fi. They're Wi-Fi, and there's a little connection. I can't show this for some reason.
We don't see it. But there've been smart homes for some time now, but Alexa is probably just connecting into that whole ecosystem, right? Or maybe they do it differently, and maybe it's easier. Maybe it really is Amazon specific, easier to set up.
No, what happens is if you buy an Amazon device, of course, it's going to go through the Amazon specific type, but like this one actually has a setup that you have to do in, it's called Gasua. There were $2.50 a piece. I got, and so you have to download that app and then set it up first so it connects to the Wi-Fi and that kind of thing. And then you sometimes have to go to the skill set and let it know that that device is there. But a lot of them come Alexa
enabled.
Yeah, a lot of them come Alexa enabled, so that eases up the whole thing. But it's a fairly straightforward process, and they usually have the instructions right there if you want to hook it up to your Alexa. I don't turn on lights anywhere anymore. It kind of reminds me of the movies, where you watch the guy and he wakes up and he says, start the coffee, turn on some music, turn the temperature of the water. Because they also have these for, like, you can set them for your shower. So you want the temperature at 72 degrees or whatever. It's everywhere. I mean, you look and you'll find it.
Alejo.
There are obviously a lot of interesting gadgets you can attach to the Alexa framework. One of the things I was curious about is back in the 1960s, there was a professor at MIT by the name of Joseph Weizenbaum who wrote a simulation of a Rogerian therapist called Eliza. And people would carry on a conversation, say over a computer terminal with Eliza, and spend hours on it. Are there similar things that you can now connect Alexa to, where you can carry on a conversation and spend hours either talking to a simulated therapist or some device that can entertain you with conversation?
Well, there's something called Alexa Chat, and I haven't done it in a long time, but you can probably Google it, where what they're trying to do is several universities have contests to see which one can be the most human answering type things. And so you can say, Alexa, start a chat, or whatever the proper term is. And you can say, how are you doing today? What's the weather? Or who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? That kind of thing. And it should come back with the appropriate answers. And then when you're done, you grade it so that these universities can use that to develop a better, whatever you want to call it, a speech therapy type of thing. But I don't know of a psychiatrist. However, we can look through the skill sets, and there may be a psychiatrist, like the ball the 8 ball that you turn over and get an answer from. That's on there, by the way.
Thank you.
Roger Burns.
John, I was fascinated with what you said about the cabin you have up in New England. I have a beach house, and the first year we bought it, I thought it would be great. We would leave the heat on down there, and I discovered that there was a really windy night and the pilot blew out on the furnace. I wound up with frozen pipes and the whole thing. Your cabin, do you keep Wi-Fi going up there to keep that alert system working?
It goes all the time, because that's how we do security up there. We have cameras all over the place, and so the Wi-Fi is the one thing we can't do without. And my next talk is going to be on pulling the plug, which I'm getting here, which means if you want to get off your cable system, what the options are there. So we actually go through the Wi-Fi when we go up there to watch TV. So it's always on.
So with that alert, let's say the temperature in the house went down to 30 degrees. Would you get a phone call or a warning or before the pipes freeze?
What you could do is, I'm sure there's an Alexa device that will that you can monitor the temperature, and it will notify you. But I haven't really researched that. But I would be surprised if there wasn't.
Okay.
Hey, John, have you actually had any incidents like that from the cabin that you had to respond to?
Well, we have the camera set for motion detection. So when we get a motion, either inside or outside of it, we have to check it. And what we had to do was, one time it went off, and it's usually a squirrel or a bird or something like that. But like if someone tried to break in, we would know it, for example.
Can you talk to the intruder?
Yes. If you have, it depends on the device, but most of them you can. It's an intercom system. I mean, even in your house, if I'm in the garage and I want to talk to my girlfriend in the kitchen, I can say the kitchen's name and connect to her and talk to her from the garage.
John, this is Roger. But before we get off the topic, since Paul asked the question, there's a device that I had seen that would notify me by phone if there was water on the floor, for example. Secondly, if the temperature dropped too low, and third would be any kind of noise inside the house. And amazingly, if there's noise, I could hit a button and it would let me listen to the vandals inside my house. Again, I'm 2 hours away. I don't know what I'd do in any of those cases, but at least you could avoid the frozen pipes, I think.
Well, I'm saving this for my automation, a house of home automation. But what happened to me is I bought a fairly inexpensive device that checked for water leaks. And so you got 3 of the devices that you can put in various places with the control unit. And I was up in my cabin, and all of a sudden we went out to eat. And when I came home, I checked my iPad, and there was a notification that there was a water leak. And so I'm thinking, oh, it must be a little spray or some vapor or something. But luckily I had a camera looking out the front window, and I moved it over to my driveway, and I noticed that there were 2 streams coming from underneath my garage door.
Ouch.
So what had happened was my water filter system busted, and I had to get it within and then I had to drive. I called my neighbor, and of course I gave her the code for my door, and he went in and shut the water off. But then I had to drive 4 hours to do the damage. And the sad part about it was we were supposed to have a funeral for my girlfriend was putting on a funeral for her aunt, so I didn't get to go to the funeral, but it saved my life. And it was funny because I had the device for 2 or 3 months and I hadn't put it in. And just 2 weeks before, without even thinking about going up there or anything, I said, I might as well put this thing in, and it saved me, because otherwise it would have ran for days.
Exactly. All right.
Hey, Mitch.
Yeah, hey, couple of things here. First of all, in terms of the smart home, there's been a lot of people talking about it for years, and they usually cite something like, "Oh, you're out of beer," and that triviality is shadows over some really cool things in the tech future in terms of power shifting, like moving your dishwasher to another time and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of power in this stuff beyond just the simple convenience. And I wanted to ask a couple of questions, John. If you've got a dimming bulb, you can yell, "Alexa, dim, dim, dim," and it'll go, right?
Right. But
Okay.
I think I think you can say dim, or you can say dim 5 and it will do that kind of thing. Or you can change the color too.
Very cool. And one of the real question I have is, we all have different ecosystems. We got our iPhone, we got our PC, we got Google Mail, we got also, and some of that stuff doesn't play real nicely. Are you seeing problems with stuff not playing across different platforms and different ecosystems?
I really don't. But again, I'm mostly I do everything from my iPad. I only use my PC now for taxes or photos. So I don't know, but it seems that they finally got smart. It wasn't like the old days where you bought an amplifier and it wouldn't connect to your TV and that kind of thing. So the devices are almost anybody who's anybody, because Amazon's got such a hold on this, and that's why this was really on Amazon. Is if they're doing some device, they're going to put Alexa in that device.
Okay, and speaking of platforms, I just tell up an iPhone, and of course SIRI is the default there. I get that you're into Alexa. Do you have any experience? I mean, you had a half a dozen other devices. Have you any thoughts on if people should automatically go to Alexa or other ones?
Well, again, Alexa, see, I'm talking mostly about Alexa speakers and screens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Siri doesn't really have anything for that. So yeah, it's, and I'm not knocking Siri. I think it's pretty good. If I'm on my iPad, I can ask Siri to do a screenshot for me and it'll do it. But if you really want to be able to walk into the house and not have to go to your phone or have something turned on, these speakers are always there to answer you. And that's why I didn't choose to go through a lot of the other stuff. Now, like I said, with Cortana, I've never figured out how to use that correctly. Every time I try to ask it a question, it gives me something that has no relationship to what I'm asking.
All these things have a learning curve. So as you get more familiar with it, it becomes more easier.
Right.
So John, just to be clear, you did talk about the Alexa app for the iPhone, but that is just for installing and configuring Alexa, right? It doesn't actually end up behaving like an Alexa node.
No, it actually is an Alexa node. You can do anything that you can do on Alexa with your phone or watch, for that matter.
Oh.
And
So
that's
you could,
why.
so you could turn off Siri and just use Alexa instead on an iPhone?
Well, that I've never tried because I don't use a phone that much. I do everything on my iPad. I doubt it because it's part of Apple's environment.
It's the Apple operating system, so I don't know that you can't, but it certainly, they wouldn't make it obvious. There's not an on-off switch for Siri.
Yeah.
But there is, but to answer your question, there is if you turn the app on in your iPhone, you download the app to your iPhone, I believe that you can leave it on and then say, Alexa, do this or do that, and it'll work like that, I believe.
Okay, Mark Edelman.
Yeah, thanks. John, that was a really good presentation. It was so well organized. I understood everything. I just want to mention the issue of power. You know, I used to have a answering machine. This is a long time ago, a digital answering machine. And when you turned it off, the speaker on it would say, the machine is off. And of course, that was very problematic because obviously the machine wasn't off, it was on. So if you're going to have an Alexa and you're going to have these plugs, for example, you have to be sure that the appliance that you're plugging in, when it's powered on, that it actually turns on. I mean, a lamp will turn right on, you know, because the switch is in the on position. But for example, a stereo might not. My stereo at home will not turn on just because I plug it into power. So you have to allow for that. Some appliances do not go on just because they're plugged in. You know, the same is also, you have to realize that the appliances that do work under the remote control have to be powered all the time. And if they're Wi-Fi, they're using quite a significant amount of power because they're on 24 hours a day. So I just thought I'd point that out.
Well, I have a ton of them on, and I've tested some of them. And, you know, that was true in the old days, that if you had Wi-Fi on your computer or something, that it sucked power like you wouldn't believe. But believe it or not, these chips have gotten so good that they really burn very little power. As a matter of fact, I was surprised when I had the old-fashioned TV that was sucking juice like you wouldn't believe it. But the new TVs, even though they're on all the time, they're barely using any power, even when they're on. So I would be surprised if Alexa was used. Like, I have these things plugged in every plug in my house, and I don't really see a huge increase in my electric bill. It's not like, I think you remember when they used to, what did they used to call it? Vampire plugs, because everything that you bought had that huge plug on it, and it just sucked electricity all day long. They've pretty much probably through environmental controls have to not allow that to happen.
Okay, Miguel.
Yes, thank you. Again, great presentation. I have a question. It's my suspicion, theory, that all of these sisters have a common grandmother. Alexa, Siri, Cortana, whoever. I suspect that they are all descendants of Nuan, N-U-A-N, the company that originated the speech recognition, and that these are all basically open system library extensions for functionality. You have Comcast building that kind of functionality into their remote, the Apple TV, similar to Amazon, but Amazon is way ahead in terms of controlling devices. Do you know if that's the case, that they're all descendants of Nuon, or
No,
libraries of Nuon?
I'm sorry, I do not know the answer to the history of it.
Well, Nuon is just doing well as a company, and they license the recognition. Medical libraries is their next step. Apple is going into the medical field with their stuff. So I just thought I'd ask if anybody else.
I know that Amazon has done, I believe that they have done a lot of work on it, but you know, Amazon, they buy anything that they want. So they could have bought it, but they have a huge development team that's always, that's why you'll notice one of the things said, you can turn off the possibility to be used for development.
Yeah, but what I think is they licensed the platform and built the extension libraries.
That's quite possible.
Okay, Paul, did you have a question? Because I noticed your hand is up.
He's silenced.
Yeah, here we go. One of the things you mentioned, John, was that Alexa uses Wikipedia a lot to look up things. Now, most of the Wikipedia articles that I've seen are pretty wordy. So does Alexa just jump in and start reading long chunks of text to you? Or
No,
is it smarter than that? How does that work?
It actually will read like the first paragraph, and then it says, would you like to hear more? Would you like, and it'll keep saying that. It'll read the next couple paragraphs, and would you like to hear more? Would you like to hear more?
Does it get smart and let you fast forward, skip a paragraph, or look for a keyword or something?
I don't think so. I haven't come across that.
Okay.
Yeah, unmute. Having computer problems today. One quick question I have is, I know with Siri, I have a lot of problems with false recognition. In other words, I'll be listening to a podcast or watching TV, and all of a sudden Siri will chime in and say, what do you want? Or, you know, the typical response. Do you find a lot of false recognitions where Alexa will jump in and start answering something?
Yes and no. It used to be a lot worse like a year or two ago, but I've noticed that they're kind of cleaning that up a little bit. But it is funny, like Paul and I mentioned, that sometimes out of nowhere, Alexa will start talking. No idea where that came from, but I think they're basically clearing that up a lot, because I think they got a lot of flack on it from people that are saying, well, Alexa's always listening to me. But to tell you the truth, I don't know.
Thanks.
Okay, are there any more questions? I don't see any hands. So if not, John, thank you very much. That was an excellent, provocative demonstration, presentation. Okay, anybody else?
Thanks, everybody. That was awesome.
Yeah, you did a great job, John, as you usually do.
Great, John.
Well, I enjoyed every minute of it. Thanks for allowing me to put that together.
We're going to have you back in, I don't know the exact time, but in 3 or 4 sessions, I believe.
To cut the cord.
Yeah, right.
Cut the cord.
We have a date, but I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but it's not the next 2, I know that. Anyway, next in 2 weeks will be George Cull will be leading us in a discussion of an update on 5G. You know, whether it's really there or how far away it still is, or what are the pros and cons and et cetera. Should we get new phones so that we can use it and all that type of stuff. So I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks at TUG, and yeah, unless there's anything else, we'll close the meeting for now. Okay, so long, everybody.
Thanks, John.